Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I would like to talk about practice routines. Why do we need a practice routine? Well, having a routine means you're always more productive. If you already know when you're going to practice and exactly what you're going to practice and it's in the diary, then you're much less likely to procrastinate. If you have a set routine, you always feel in good shape and on top of your game. It's like a blueprint for success. You maintain your level of playing and improve consistently. If you practice a set of exercises on a regular basis, they become second nature to you. Repetition is so important for real progress. It promotes muscle memory and it guarantees that you move towards your goal one step at a time. Your practice routine needs to fit with your lifestyle. There's really no one-size-fits-all approach. Only you will know if you're more productive in the morning or the afternoon, how long your sessions could realistically be, how long you can focus for at one time. What do you think might work better? Having 2 or 3 long sessions of 2 hours maybe at a time, or maybe several shorter sessions of an hour, or maybe even just 45 minutes. What do you need to practice? Well, the basics. Musician's bread and butter, really. I would put them into 3 general categories of number 1, finger technique, number 2, articulation, and number 3, sound. Finger technique covers all your scales, any scale-based exercises which are actually really useful as well. For the flautists among you, I'd recommend the Trevor Y books on technique, which break up scales into smaller chunks and actually then repeat them, which makes your scales much more fluent as well. Studies. And also, I would always practice difficult passages from pieces you're playing at the moment or from excerpts as well in your finger technique session, because then you've got that covered already for the day. And later on in another session, when you want to focus on pieces and think more about interpretation and colors and be creative with it, then you've already done the technical bit and you don't have to do it in that session later on. Articulation. How's your double tonguing? If you feel it might need some work, spend maybe 20 to 30 minutes a day on it. Start with single tonguing always and then move to double tonguing. Perhaps even triple if you're up for it. If you've mastered all of these different types of tonguing already, then you might just need 5 or 10 minutes just for general maintenance to make sure that you're always fluent in that area. Number 3, sound. Some people actually like to start their practice with sound. I've always found when I've just been off the bus and running to the conservatoire and started practicing, my sound wouldn't be the best straight away, so I personally always preferred starting with scales. Working on your sound might include playing long notes, practicing intervals for flexibility, practicing in different dynamics, slow tunes like, for example, the Mui's 24 exercises, which you can use in so many different ways. Vibrato as well, and perhaps also breathing exercises. Regarding all of those exercises, you might be following a routine from one of the many books out there, or perhaps your teacher has her own routine, or you could make up your own, picking different exercises from different books and just finding the ones that are perfect for you, which is my favorite option. After having covered all your basics, which I would say should take up about 2/3 of your overall practice time, I think it's really important to have one completely free session where you can play the pieces, play things over as much as you like, think about interpretation, try out different approaches, be really creative. I would say that session should come last. So you have your duty section of the day and your freestyle, just like they do in ice skating, right? Once you know all of the things that you want to be practicing, and you've thought about how much time you could invest each day, depending on your schedule. Now allocate a time frame for each exercise. And you can be as meticulous about this as you want. You can write the exact number of minutes you want to spend on each exercise, or be a bit more approximate and say, I'm going to cover these 3 or 4 areas in one session. Just to give you one example of my practice routine, I would say that would have been in year 1 and 2 of college. So I did about 6 hours a day, which is my own choice, but I was a real nerd, so there we are. I would do 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the evening. My first session in the morning would be mostly scales. So let's say I would do an hour on scales, for example, and then perhaps 20 minutes on articulation, 20 minutes on sound, and another 20 minutes on anything miscellaneous that would come up. In my second session in the afternoon, I would work on studies, excerpts, and difficult passages from pieces I was playing at the time. And I remember when I learned Sean Delino's, there's this one infamous bit in the middle, you know the bit. It's just a couple of bars, which are so horrendously difficult, that I must have spent an hour on that passage every day for 3, 4, 5 weeks probably, until I felt I could really play that bit. In my evening session, I would play through the pieces that I was working on, or maybe focus on one piece. I would try out different colors, think about the interpretation, or just try out lots and lots of different ways how to play it. And that was actually really, really fun. But in that session, I would never practice any technical passages that would come up. If I noticed, I can't really play that bit yet, I would make a mental note and practice that the next day in an earlier session. Of course, you can fit in a lot of these exercises in a much shorter time frame as well. You might also want to have a long routine and a short routine. A long routine for those days when you really have plenty of time, and a short routine for those days when you really don't. A much shorter 1 hour practice routine might look like the following: 20 minutes on scales, 10 minutes on articulation, 10 minutes on sound, 20 minutes on your piece. Of course, it could be anything in between as well. Find out what works for you and turn it into a process that sets you up for success. I hope this was helpful for today. If there's anything about these practice routines that you would like me to expand on, leave it in the comments below, or anything in particular you struggle with that you would like me to address in future videos, leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer all your questions in upcoming videos. That's all for today. Have a great day and see you in the next video.